Today, I think what we'll do is just break down the exercises or the movements a little bit more on that. So I've just clicked live Facebook and we should be able to go live on Instagram. We are, if you're just joining us on the social media channels, we are going to continue with our 5-element flow, the Qigong 5-element flow. Always good to repeat movements. And we're just going to break each movement down a little bit. It's quite challenging when we're watching online or when you're online, and when I'm just watching Zoom people online. It's obviously much more easy. It's much easier in person, but there's always that opportunity just to refine some of the movements and play around with them a little bit. But as always, we will start with a little bit of mobilization and a little bit of stretching. So shake out a little bit. Come to shoulder width apart on the feet, and let's just go into knocking. Remember that idea of gently drawing the heel into the center line. So we're nice and strong through the lower body. And that will create a rotation in the ankle, the knee, the hip. So that's why we want to have soft knees, soft ankles, soft into the hip. So you get a strong lower body and then a light lifted upper body. Knocking on the door of life, tapping on the back, tapping across the belly, working on rotation of the spine. And remember with this, the spine is upright. Think of like the spine as an upright rotational axis. So you're working around that axis. Without hurting yourself, if you lean back a little bit, push the hips forwards, and we lose that alignment of the spine, it's much more difficult. And if you lean forwards a little bit or drop your head down, we lose the alignment of the spine there. Again, it's much more difficult. So keep that spine long. Remember, the neck is part of the spine, so lift and lengthen the neck. Just rotating around the spine. Slowing down now into water waves. And just coming into our standing position, palms facing the ground. Spreading the fingers slightly, not overstretching, but just imagining you've got a little bit of a pebble in between each of the fingers. Softness in the ankles, softness in the knees. Tall through the spine, relaxing the shoulders down. Bringing your elbows up to shoulder height and just sitting back a little bit, and then spinal cord breathing, where you're tilting the pelvis, spilling out the front of the pelvis as we bring the elbows back, and then bringing the elbows together, tucking the tailbone underneath. So we're working that spine now in flexion and extension. Breathing in and expanding, breathing out as we curl up into that little ball. Knees stay bent in this one. We're not coming up to standing tall. We're just tilting the pelvis forwards and backwards. Spinal cord breathing. A couple more. Moving at your own pace and your own rhythm, following your breath. And then have a little bit of a shake out. Shifting side to side, dog wags the tail. Our lateral flexion of the spine, side to side. Pelvis stays parallel to the ground. And then the spine follows the movement. Think about the sequence of the movement. You push through the ground with the foot and it pushes you to the other side. So then you do the same with the opposite foot. So you're pushing into the ground. Feel the spine wave, ripple, lower back, all the way through the mid back, particularly in that upper back point, into the neck. And slow it down. Let's just go into a standing posture for a moment. Letting the breath settle. Checking in with your contact to the ground, softening into the ankles, the knees, the hips. Tall through the spine. Bring the hands up now, keep the elbows, keep the forearms at sort of like 11 o'clock, so the elbows aren't pointing out. And we'll just do a little bit with the hands, stretching the fingers. Shy T-Rex is what everybody on our Costa Brava retreat called this. So elbows, stay still, stretch. So now we're doing a little bit more stretching. Getting a little clunk there through my right wrist. Change direction. Spreading the fingers. Let's do a clap. So you're going towards a clap and then you're dropping down and then out. Stretch, clap, down, stretch through the arm line, stretch. Just breathing easy. Just change direction. Similar movement to the fountain, but we're stretching everything out here rather than thinking of a flow range. And then shake out the hands. Let's come into the hips, so feet shoulder width apart. Let's do big hip circles. Remember, when you bring the hips forwards, just lift slightly at the sternum. So lifting that sternum a little bit. If you want to go a little bit wider, go a little bit wider. If you want to put your hands on your hips, put your hands on your hips. And then change directions. And shake out. Let's go feet shoulder width apart with straight legs, just something we were chatting about in the Zoom previously. Straight legs, raising the bubbling spring. and then lowering, so not crashing down. No, sometimes we'll do a crash down to get that vibration. Here we're lowering, making sure, let's go feet parallel, making sure your knees are over the toes, the ankles are not dropping out side to side either, that the heels follow that line. So if you're watching yourself in the mirror, watch for any weird movements there. It's often useful to do movements like that, but we want to really strengthen this whole line where your knees are over your toes, your ankles are lifting, and the heels are underneath the ankles. Slowly down, making sure you're not over gripping with the toes. 2 more. Really good balance. And then we'll do it with the bended knee, what we were just talking about. Maybe come a little bit closer, maybe go hip width. Excuse me. Bending the knees. Again, as long as there's no pain here, making sure that the knees are over those toes, lifting the heels with a bended knee, lowering the heels. If you get any pain anywhere, you stop. Keep the spine long as well. As he falls over, spine long, lifting. Couple more. Smooth, easy breathing, no breath holding. And then shake out. So we've done a little bit of mobilization, a little bit of stretching through the hips, through the legs, through the hands. Now let's go into our flow. So the first element is the metal element, thinking of energy. So let's just work on the movement. Think of that space in the elbows. It creates that space there in the side of the ribs. You bring your palms to face chest there. And then use the thumbs. Imagine you've got a little bit of a weight on the thumbs. The thumbs roll round and you lift up. And then same thing with the thumbs. Thumbs roll round back and lower down. So you get that nice spiral movement. And keep the shoulders down. It's very tempting when we're lifting up to start to use the shoulders and start lifting the shoulders up. So the shoulders stay down and you're really using the whole of the spine to create this movement. If you were lifting something heavy, you would drop a little bit and you'd really feel the weight above you there. Spiral the thumbs. And then you're moving with the breath. Smooth movement, smooth breath. Just smooth everything out. Remember, we're going to our range of the edge of the flow rather than a full stretch. So you're opening up the fingers. Buddha holds up the earth, holding up the earth, lifting up. Let's do just one more. Take a rest with the palms facing the ground. Letting the breath settle. You can use different flow movements for these elements. So it's not just that one flow movement that is the metal element. So the one we've done before, the soaring crane, is also a metal element, because that's working on breath, working on the meridians that focus on lungs. Next element is the water element, relaxation, flow. Now, all of our movements, we're focusing on relaxation and flow, but this one in particular. And use the ground as well. So back of the hands towards each other. Use the strength through the lower leg, through the legs actually into the ground. Bringing the elbows to shoulder height. Letting the elbows drop. And that creates the spurt of the fountain. Drawing up through the center line, through the inner legs. Maybe just wanting to engage a little bit with the legs, so you can maybe gently draw the heels towards that center line to give you that little bit more grounding and strength without overdoing anything. And again, using the spine, standing that little bit taller. Breathing in. Breathing out. I'm just going to stand on the side, so you keep facing front, but I just want to show you the subtle hinge at the hips as well that you can get. It's just a nod to that shifting of the center of gravity, and then you can get that ripple, that wave up the spine that creates the movement, drawing from the ground, using the legs, waving up that spine. So I'm not just here doing an arm movement. Use that whole body. Just do one more. And then just come into our standing position. Tree sways into the wind, or in the wind. There's a lot of trees swaying in the wind this morning. Strength and flexibility, the wood element. So palms facing up. A little bit of space in the elbows. That space between the elbow and the side of the body helps the breath in the side of the ribs here. We rotate to the side. Come up the side of the body with the fingers pointing towards the crown of the head. And the leaves, the branches of the trees, and then repeat on the opposite side. When you're coming up the side of the body, so I've got my palm, my fingers facing each other. So the fingers face in here. So you've got your fingers facing into the side of the body. Then you're pointing at the crown of their head. That keeps you tall. Keep the shoulders down when you do that. And then the same thing. So fingers connected, fingers running up the side of the body. Crown of the head. And here you can lengthen out the breath. As long as it feels comfortable, you get that little bit of a pause at the top of the breath, pause at the bottom of the breath. The movement continues. Even when we pause the breath, there's still a breath rhythm going on in the body. So when we pause, we're not holding anything. I don't want you to hold any tension. There's still a flow to the movement. It's just a stillness. It's like when you watch a wave crash on the shore, and it's a change of direction. There's a little bit of space before it returns. It doesn't stop. There's no stop. There's no start to this movement. Let's do one more to each side of the body. And then going into our embracing the tree stance. So when you're ready, just palms facing the chest. Always finish off the movement lovely. Softness in the knees, softness in the ankles. Our fire element, move hands like clouds, so palm faces down. And remember, this movement comes from the hips and the waist. So I'm creating like a figure of 8 with the hips and the waist. It's that sequence of events of the movements. You got to the ground, your foot goes through the ground, it creates rotation through the leg, which creates rotation in the hip, which then creates rotation in the spine, and the arms follow. And there's a flow to this movement, flow to the movement. Just breathing easy. Almost feel as if you've got like a magnetic field around the heart center, in front of the heart. So that palm that crosses the front of the body is connected to the heart center, connected to the heart. Feel that connection. Middle dantian. Fire element, enjoyment. Get that movement through the hips, that figure of 8 through the hips. And when you're ready, coming back into your standing posture. Final earth element, pebble in the pond. So you're dropping into the pond and creating that little ripple. Breathing out. Breathing in. So cup the hands, breathe in, bring that energy back in, and then out. Again, rotation through the fingers, through the wrists. Softness in the elbows and the shoulders. the earth element, grounding, centering, gathering energy. And then moving into pulling down the sky, just to finish off our little practice this morning. Breathing in, breathing out. And then interlocking our thumbs, resting on the lower dantian, bringing the feet together. Closing your eyes just for a few moments. Bamboo in the wind, the standing posture, bamboo in the wind. Combination of strength, flexibility. Just allowing that gentle rock sway. Now taking a calm, full breath in through the nose. Opening your eyes, stepping out. A little bit of a brush down. A little bit of a shake out. If you want to tap in the hips a little bit, if you want to tap on the belly a little bit. Excellent. So again, working through that 5-element flow. I think we'll keep this for next week, and then maybe after that explore some of the other flows or the other movements that we can incorporate within that 5-element flow program. Of course, if there's any questions, if there's anything in particular that you would like to do in these sessions, remember Mondays, we generally focus a little bit more on breath, Wednesday, a little bit more on the movement, then please do let me know. If you are, excuse me, if you're a member of our core program, your workshop is on Saturday at 10 till 11. I will pop an email out about that today as well, but I know some of you have already signed up for that. We're going to be looking at circadian rhythm again on that. In the meantime, if I don't see you Saturday, I'll see you next week. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of the week. Thank you as always for your support and for joining. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.